Congratulations, you've now completed all of your trail. You finished the last pin on the right hand side, which I just pressed in. You then worked with your worker over to the left hand side. And in doing that, you now have a worker on the left and a worker on the right. And the good part about that is the worker on the right goes into the first pin on the right, the very first one that you put in. The worker on the left goes into the very first pinhole that you placed on the left hand side. And the 4 passives in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, will go into the loops which are on the pin. There are 4 loops on your pin. The pin has 4 loops on it. Very small loops, but they're there. So each pair of the passives will go into one of those loops. I tend to leave my workers for the end. That way the workers can be pulled as tightly as needed. So I start with the trail, the passives in the trail. You can either start with the little loop on the right or the little loop on the left. It doesn't matter. Most people find that if they're right or left-handed, they develop a technique. I like to start on the left for some reason. Perhaps it's because I'm right-handed and I'm able to place my hook underneath the one on the left most easily. So you've got to move everything out of the way and get the crochet hook into the little loop on the end. But before I even try to find the loop, I need to position the threads so they are in the right position. So since I'm going to start on the left, I want the pair that's on the left, the only one that's close by what I want to do. And here are the threads that go with that pair. This is the worker pair. I want that out of the way. I want the other pairs as far out of the way as I can get them. I now need to sew one of these pairs, one of these threads into this loop, which is right here. So I'm going to go underneath that loop and pick up a thread. I'm going to pick up the one that's closest to me at this time and pull it through that loop. I make a loop large enough to place the other bobbin through it. So I hold my thread up in the air, out of the way, and I place my bobbin into that loop. You can hold it with your finger if you want, but the idea is not to lose it. The thread that I place through the sewing, I always hold tightly and allow the other loop to go down. Because we have so many sewings to do, I do not even think about knotting until all the sewings are done. I move this pair out of the way. I get the next pair ready and move it over to the left. I have to get, again, my hook into the next loop. And as you can see, it's not as easily done because there's not much space. And my other problem is I don't have the best light here to be able to see it. So I put my crochet hook through that loop. The crochet hook is through the loop. It catches the thread. Hold on to your thread, pull it through the loop, make a loop large enough for the other bobbin to go through it. Go through the front of the loop in this case to the back. Pull the thread that went through straight, tight, and pull your loop down until it's also out of the way. Move it over to the side. Move the next pair over to the left. Remember, I'm putting them to the left because I'm aiming my crochet hook towards the left. If you're aiming your crochet hook the other way, you're going to, of course, put the bobbins on the other side. So I put my crochet hook through the third loop. I put it around my thread, pull my thread through, make the loop a little bit bigger, put my third bobbin, pair through, keep it straight, and pull it down. I'm going to do the same thing with the fourth bobbin. Okay, all 4 bobbin passive pairs are done in the middle. Now you're probably saying, why didn't you take out the pin? It would give you more space. The only problem is when you take out the pin, one, if you make a mistake, you can't find the loops again, and 2, when you take out the pin, for some reason the loops seem to disappear. They're much more difficult to find. So the last thing we need to do on the right hand side is the fact that we have a worker here. The worker needs to be sewn into the pinhole. So we need to remove the pin on the right hand side. So my right workers are now to the left because I'm right-handed. I have the loop from the pin on my crochet hook. I again pull one of the threads through that loop, create a loop that I can then place the other bobbin into, pull it tight, and make the loop smaller. So that takes care of the right hand side, the first pair, the second pair, the third pair, and the fourth pair. And there's only one more pair left, and that happens to be the worker on the left hand side. Because everything seemed to be sewn okay, I'm going to remove the pin that the loops were on. I've placed my crochet hook in the pinhole. The very first pin on the left is the pin I'm talking about. I pull one of the worker pairs through it and try not to lose it. Make a loop and place the other pair, the other thread, other bobbin of the pair through it. They've all now been sewn together. Since this video is so long, I'm going to do the knotting in a separate video. But in every case, all of your pairs should have been sewn into a loop which was related to them so that you'll have a smooth start and a smooth finish.